The Pizza Bunker. Let's go ahead and get started with a few introductions. Let me just start. My name is Andy Boyan. This is Chainlink Live. I'm with Chainlink Labs, and we're here talking to Rare Pizzas and people from OpenDive and their community who have built this really cool application and this cool NFT project using Chainlink VRF. So we're excited to hear more about it, about Bitcoin Pizza Day, about the promotion and everything you guys are into, virtual reality and like just all sorts of amazing stuff. I'm a geek and I've been into VR and gaming and art and all that stuff forever. So I love what you're doing. Why don't we begin with introduce yourselves, just give us some background, how you got involved in NFTs and crypto. Irvin, go ahead.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Irvin. Overall, I'm a research and a founder at OpenDive Technologies, and I've been in the crypto space since around 2012, late 2011, and pretty much got started with Bitcoin and launching one of the early Bitcoin startups called Decentrabank, and then later went off to work on robots, then did some finance and blockchain again at Goldman Sachs, and now I'm building blockchain games, and I would say rocking rare pizzas and doing some VRF and price feeds with these rare pizzas.
Awesome. Who's next? Sean, do you want to introduce yourself?
I think you're muted, Sean.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so hi everyone. So my name is Chainlink, and I'm a PhD student and a founder of the OpenDive. And my currently the research field include VR, robotics, and blockchain technology. And then I previously has attended and lead a team in a couple international robotics competition, such as the WS Robot Cup earlier. And I got into the crypto space like very like 2 years ago, and like East New York competition. So since then, I have won a 7 blockchain related hackathon prize. And then so currently I'm more focusing on doing the blockchain gaming and integration with the Chainlink. So
awesome. Tina, how about you?
Hi everyone, my name is Tina and founder of the OpenDive. Previously, I worked as a marketing lead at NetEase, one of the largest like China game company, and I got into the blockchain in 2018, but officially got into blockchain development at East Stanford February, just before the pandemic. So this is my first blockchain. That was my first blockchain at hackathon and first time writing a smart contract. And as a blockchain analyst, so my goal is to use big data analytics and machine learning technology to help the crypto project grow.
Well, I'm hearing from more people who have entered the space in the last couple of years, and there's enough excitement going on right now and motivation from the last, sort of run up that people are starting to build really cool things that are relatively fresh in the ecosystem. I love to see it. Anthony or Shrimp, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Anthony. I'm a 20-year veteran of visual effects and animation and a creative technologist for AR/VR location-based experiences and medical devices. So I too have a degree in computer engineering and robotics, but I went to work for George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic straight out of college, and worked on episode 1, 2, 3, and so forth. Probably worked on many of the shots and projects that movies you've loved over the years. I was nominated for designing Harry Potter's Patronus and Johnny Depp's Hand Curse, and I did Starscream in Transformers 1. After I left Lucasfilm, I joined Robert Zemeckis to build one of the first virtual production studios for Jim Carrey's Christmas Carol. And I've since done a number of other things, such as Michael Jackson's Slave to the Rhythm live holographic concert, and was creative director on the 19 Crimes Talking Wine Bottle, and pre-pandemic launched the Vader Immortal Star Wars lightsaber dojo in malls near you, back when malls were open.
I think they're opening up now. It's great to have you, man. I think you said somewhere that you're a crypto noob. There's no crypto noobs here. It's okay. Everybody's got to get exposed at one point, and we're glad that people from outside the insular industry are coming in. So it's awesome to have you here. Popple, or Matt, go ahead. I don't think we have Popple here yet.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for making me follow up that impressive resume that Anthony's got here. So my name's Matt. I'm a computer engineer. I work for a small consulting company called In Front of Red, and we build user experiences for brands, basically. So we've done some work in media with like Discovery Channel, NPR, Sesame Street, financial services products, things like that. And I personally have been involved in crypto probably since about 2015, 2016. I got really into Ethereum right around the DAO hack. I know that was a difficult time for a lot of people, but I thought it was really cool the way that got pulled off. And I just started diving really deep into smart contract stuff, and I've been doing it kind of in my spare time ever since. So I'm one of the engineers on the Rare Pizzas project, and I'm helping Anthony put together our art to pizza pipeline that we're going to show off here a little bit later.
Fantastic. That's a great term. Art to pizza pipeline ends up in my mouth. Papa, welcome. I didn't get to meet you beforehand, but we're doing introductions. Please, who are you and how did you get involved in the crypto space and with Rare Pizzas?
Sure. Hi, I'm Papa. I'm an animator and artist, and also a new media designer, interested in AR and 3D. My work is focused on bringing artists together, allow them to cooperation and organize exhibition between China and US. So for me, it is very interesting to see what's happening right now in the NFT world. Definitely, it's creating a future of the art, and also it's a healthy way for artists and for the art market as well. Honestly, I see myself as a kid in the NFT world. I have been having so much fun to learning and creating. It's the first time I feel I can compete to follow my heart to create art as I want, especially as an age as female artist. Now I can use NFT art and as my voice to represent my art, and there's so much freedom, and I feel like so much full of adventure. So I really interesting to see what's happening in the next NFT. Especially when artists they can use a churning to for random number and real time data, and as well as how to know as well as how art gallery can run into a virtual reality world. And I think so VR gallery will be a good example to explore the data art world as well. Yeah.
Awesome. It's amazing to have so many people from different backgrounds in this one chat. Like I'm a former professor as well, so that we've got roboticists, academic, we have the gamut here of all over the place coming together to do this amazing, interesting new art, as Popple talked about. It's really great to meet all of you guys. If you're just joining us, my name is Andy Boyan from Chainlink Labs. This is Chainlink Live, and we're talking about the Rare Pizzas project with people from OpenDive and other places. We've got a fair amount of user comments like this, so I love this. Keep bringing the pizza. And if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll try to address those as we can. Feel free to drop more pizza emoji if you need to, and we will try to address those too. Okay, so what is Rare Pizzas? How does it work? What is it? Give us the pitch.
I guess I'll take it. You heard me mention the art to pizza pipeline, right? So this project, like you started to mention, is about bringing a lot of different diverse groups of people together to capture some of the excitement that we're seeing around NFTs, and give artists and other creative types a way to kind of collaborate and build a community around something that we think is memeable and fun, and then channeling that energy into feeding real people who are hungry for pizza around the world, right? So I'm sure if you've been to our website, you've seen on May 22nd, we're going to throw the world's largest pizza party, where we're going to buy real actual pizzas for real humans from local businesses all over the world. So if you are hungry for pizza and you want pizza, you should go on our website and sign up your local shop, and we'll buy pizza for you and your neighborhood. Basically.
I know the answer to this, but why May 22nd? It's a special day in crypto history.
Yeah, so this is in honor of Bitcoin Pizza Day, right? So it was May 22nd, 2010. A gentleman named Laszlo, he made what is arguably perhaps the first commercial transaction with Bitcoin, when he bought 2 Papa John's pizzas, had delivered to his house for 10,000 Bitcoin, which is like a small sum of money nowadays, right?
Yeah, 500 mil, give or take, a day.
Depending on the day.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I was just gonna say. So you'll see, like we're trying to buy 10,000 pizzas. We're doing 10,000 generative NFT art. Like a lot of the project is kind of built around this core specific meme as just kind of a substrate for all of us to kind of come together and collaborate.
The pizza day meme is the guy spent $500 million on 2 pizzas, but without those early users like trying to transact in cryptocurrency, we wouldn't have the industry we have today. It was people like that who were really trying to get people to understand it and transact with it. That's what I see this project is. This Rare Pizza project is it's blending NFTs with a use case. You guys are coming together to try and make something tangible happen given this digital art in this rare format, and I think it's just really cool sort of thing. Anthony, did you have a contribution as well?
Yeah. Do you want me to start sharing my screen, and are we going to go into that, or
maybe we can talk about Anthony, like how did you get into Rare Pizza? I think that's also an interesting comment, right?
Yeah, so I got into Rare Pizza by Clubhouse. I happened to be in the parking lot. My wife was getting eye surgery or prepping. I had nothing to do. I browsed. I found this room. I stumbled in upon it about 10, 20 minutes into it, and they were throwing the Rare Pizza project. And it started out as, we're going to make 10,000 pizzas. And what I realized was 10,000 pizzas is a lot like building a small animated film. I come from visual effects and animation, and we handle thousands and thousands of assets along thousands of timelines. And a pizza index is really just a frame in a film. So I started just jumping in and contributing from the movie and visual effects side of the house, and brought in together a lot of the workflows and fundamental technologies that or setups that helped structure the process.
I get a lot of questions from people who want to know how to get involved in crypto projects, how to get a career, join communities, and pitch in the way you know how. Maybe that's building out an animation sequence. Maybe it's helping moderate a Telegram chat. Maybe it's writing a blog post. There's a ton of ways these projects are community driven. People show up and say, hey, I got a cool idea. And people say, okay, go do it. So go do it. Like, join these communities. That's awesome. I want to know about this as an NFT. How is Rare Pizzas different from an NFT project? Can anybody talk about how these NFTs work?
Anthony, go ahead.
Although I am a DeFi noob, I have been in the Bitcoin world for a while, but I was doing some early research on generative art projects, and it was clear that we had this opportunity, or I had this opportunity to bring to the table this different workflow that I had mentioned. And so that process of organizing and layering and bringing a kind of a creative direction to this particular project felt like it really differentiated itself from the others.
Yeah, and just to add to that a little bit, so the other thing I think that we're doing that's fairly unique is all of this work that we're putting into this project, we're trying to do that work in the open, like as a DAO, and radically open source, right? So right now we're still working on the rendering pipeline and this core software, so it's closed source in the short term, but once we actually launch the project and deliver this NFT experience to folks, we're going to open source absolutely everything, right? Including the rendering pipeline that we're going to show off today. So, our hope is that us professionals coming together and building something that we think is kind of fun and engaging, that other people will be able to benefit from that, learn from our experiences, and kind of continue this process on and, build something else cool, hopefully improving our tech stack or whatever, right? So.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who owns Rare Pizzas. And that's not how this works.
Yeah, Vitalik's the CEO of Ethereum, so maybe he.
Yeah, right. So once I accepted that, it was like, okay, I'm working with OpenDive people, and whoever else joins and is part of this community got a little easier for me to get my head around. So we talked a little bit about Bitcoin Pizza Day. This is connecting this on-chain and off-chain events. Are we going to see more events like this, or is this a trend? Or are we going to see, I've got Beeple back here, my version of the printout of the NFT. Did not cost me 69 mil. But are we going to see more of this hybrid model between real world and virtual?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think it's definitely a trend that we're going to see more and more. And not only as it relates to kind of Rare Pizzas or digital art NFTs, but also as we see kind of the mainstream introduction of NFTs into other areas such as DeFi, where for example we can represent liquidity precisions as NFTs and sort of have, let's say, a basket of assets represented as Zinco NFT, but behind the scenes, right, having some of these assets perhaps connected to real world information and essentially the value of the asset itself fluctuating on that real world data. I think there's definitely one interesting use case. And also, things like gaming, where you think about a part of the game happening off chain. Well, this is also real world data that can not only be used in the contracts, but also in our case, for example, to create open source betting platforms and stuff like that. And but in the case of Rare Pizzas, I think it's worthy to know that the baking and serving process is triggered actually by external events on the VFX pipeline, which is pretty cool. And also, of course, it leverages Chainlink VRF, so it's kind of putting all these things together towards making an assortment of pizza ingredients verifiably random, which I would say nobody has done within the context of generative NFTs. But if I'm wrong, please do reach out to me and I'll retweet that I'm wrong. But I have yet to see someone kind of be able to render these things in real time. But I'll let Matt and Anthony share more details on the front of the house, and also let Anthony share an awesome demo of what happens behind the scenes in the kitchen.
Yeah, I want to see this stuff. Go ahead.
Got the screen up.
All right, let me add this. There we go. All right, what are we seeing here? Oh, you're on mute, buddy.
There we go. So this is the fundamental template that I pushed out literally the first 12 hours 2 months ago. And I just tried to describe a pizza as it would look. This was taking the kind of chopped up art and templatizing it so that I knew when I would be receiving thousands of these or hundreds of these, because there was originally 96 elements, that we needed to make it standard. Of course, what we got was something like this. Everyone went completely creative, and there was no rhyme or reason. And artists were compositing their own images, and it got nuts. And then in the matter of just days, the spreadsheet started to explode to the point where we had a waiting list and we didn't know what to do. So that then brought into the step where I felt like I needed to get some professionals on board to help me organize this. So we created this kind of templatized variation of what constitutes a pizza and how to break that down using code databases that could build up these assets. So I'm gonna actually bring up live. I'm gonna do this live. We're gonna do a live demo here.
Oh, yeah.
So this right here is the Blender file, which is the basis of our pizza. And as it comes up, you can see that it's a full 3D model. A friend of mine at Pixar, who just recently left, had some time, and so he built this out. And literally, in the matter of hours, we had our pizza and our pizza box professionally lit and built, because I was able to bring that network to the table. So once we rendered that out, we were able to build out a what I call a compositing stack of individual elements. Let's see here. I'm streaming and live streaming at the same time here. So what this is this constitutes each one of these individual ingredients, because as the ingredients started to pile in, we received thousands of images, and day by day, it was a matter of, okay, how do we constitute these onto an individual pie? So I started prototyping that here. Matt, you want to jump in and just talk about these individual elements and how they interact with each other?
Yeah, sure. So so what Anthony's been building in this tool, Natron, which is an open source rendering application, is various what they call nodes for to be able to interact with the different ingredients themselves, right? So you can think of like a transform node would allow you to rotate something a certain number of degrees, right? And there's a slider associated with that. And that gets exposed externally through the configuration file to a Python API. And what we've built is a set of data transformation algorithms that can create this verifiably random pizza and feed that as a set of instructions into this Natron application and get it to render something in a very deterministic way, right? So I can get more into the tech stack in a little bit, but basically what we're doing is we're taking the output from VRF and we're using Chainlink nodes to communicate with our API directly using that feedback, that random feedback as a seed into our recipe and generation process in order to generate these pizzas.
Yeah, so each one of these elements is read in through this recipe here. So we have a Dogecoin, and it's coded at 3090, and it's aged, well, 2007 is a little early for it. Maybe it should be 2008. No, 2011. I don't know when Doge was created. Yeah. And we also have nutritional values here. So it's probably pretty high in fat, which is, maybe it's going to be 2,000 grams of fat and tons of cholesterol because we really don't want to eat Doge. And that is ingested into this processing stack. And we've written some customized plugins that allows us to effectively melt the Doge using this image right here, which is a procedural noise image. And so as we look through these nodes, we can adjust the Doge and his melting scale. So let's say we want to really kind of crank him up because he's got a lot of fat in him. So he's going to be like cheese, and it melts under high temperatures. And each recipe also has a baking degree and a time to bake. And depending on how heavy of a processing stack it is, it may overcook, or the cook may have been hangry when he was cooking, so he wasn't following directions. So these are part of the randomization functions that give it a kind of a fun flavor.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to add to that. So we've also made this deterministic in the sense that the only randomization that we have is the seed that comes off of VRF, right? And from there, if you have that seed, you can regenerate the same pizza using a deterministically random bit generator internally, right? So what we started with is kind of a traditional data curation and classification problem where we have all of these ingredients. They have metadata and attributes associated with them that we're sourcing into our community and ourselves to add some of these things that Anthony is talking about, like the fat content and whatnot. And we have a number of different values that define a range of acceptable values for a specific ingredient. Say like, maybe for a Dogecoin, you can only have between 1 and 3 instances of that on a pizza, right? So we take those recipes that define all the possible different ways that something can be combined, and then use the output of VRF to deterministically settle on what an actual pizza is going to be and going to look like. And that creates an order that has a number of scalar values that are associated with it that lead to what is being rendered here.
Right.
So as context, so I'm thinking about generative art, like art blocks or Euler beats or things like this, where there is a particular artist or a couple of artists who get together and they define the parameters. This is how this art is going to be generated using these assets, these formula, these tones, whatever it happens to be. In this case, you guys are soliciting art from the community and figuring out how do we get this community into this generated art, which leads to who knows how many categories. And so you've got to figure out a way to sort these. This is a categorization problem, a community sourced art categorization problem. That's really cool. I think this has applications far beyond pizza creation.
Yeah.
No, like definitely. And so like, what Anthony mentioned, like regarding the artists is the other cool part. Like there's currently over 300 artists involved in this project. And, some are from well-known studios like Pixar and others which we haven't disclosed. Actually, I think this is the first time we're telling the community that there's actually people that are from, these heavy hitter, studios like Pixar and Lucasfilm that are involved in this. And
yeah, we have production designers that have worked on major feature films and designed characters that you all know and love. But due to NDAs, they really can't be involved in a lot of this stuff.
So sometime in the near future, we're going to disclose this information. I think it'd be pretty cool for the community to find out who's behind the scenes. But yeah, like in other things to note is, there's over 2,000 people in the Discord that are actively there. We have a Korean community that's now growing, a community in China. Popo is helping out with that as well. And it's actually a global project. It's not just here in the US. We're trying to feed people all across the world. And, besides the numbers, I would say what's honestly cool about it, again, is that we're creating a real-time generative art with verifiable randomness, NFT pipeline. And so there's no pre-generation of art or no pre-minting and then listing the NFTs. Everything happens in real time. And so when you look at, other projects that are doing quote unquote generative art, it sort of happens behind the scenes, right? And they go ahead, mint it, and then sell it. This is all happening in real time. So we go ahead, query VRF, we go ahead, get the assets and render it and then ship it out and mint it. So I think that's like a really, really like cool part about the project, and hopefully the community kind of looks into the code and also gives us suggestions on how to grow this out. And like you said, Andy, like this applies for a lot of things.
Absolutely. And as you're speaking, I'm going to kick off a render right now, and we're going to just watch this thing cook. And when this is deployed, Matt, you can talk a little bit about how that's going to happen.
Yeah, sure. So the way that we're going to deploy this, obviously the API is going to be running in the cloud, right? And we have two different Chainlink nodes that are going to be running. So the primary pizza NFTs are all going to be minted on mainnet, but we're actually offloading the VRF functions onto the Polygon network. And we're effectively building a bridge system in between these two networks. There's a number of reasons to do it that way, not least of which is that the cost is considerably less over there. And we have a very large number of pizzas to render. So our design space is 2 to the power of 96, roughly, right? That's the number of different rough combinations that are possible. Yes, we're only going to choose roughly 10,000 out of that, but we wanted to be able to start building out some infrastructure across to link this product between these two chains, because we see this as kind of just the beginning. And like we're going to end up adding in new features kind of as we go. And so what ends up happening in the rendering pipeline is that a request to create a pizza is made on mainnet. So you might redeem a box, or you might just purchase one directly. And that request will then, it gets picked up by the Chainlink node, which then makes the API request to kick off the rendering pipeline. It also calls over to the Polygon network, where we get our random number, and that random number actually just gets written directly out to the blockchain. For our use cases, it's not important if that number is secret or if it's not revealed, because it's associated with the job ID. And that actually becomes part of the NFT metadata once we actually publish this. So we get that number back from the Polygon network, and that's used to generate the recipe that's used in the kitchen order that I already mentioned, and fires off this rendering pipeline that Anthony's been working on, and we're going to show off here, which positions all of the different ingredients on top of the pizza, rotates them, depending on what type of metadata went in there, it might look a little bit different. So every single pizza is going to be unique. Once the rendering is finished, we write out a subset of the metadata out to IPFS, and then we get a hash of that asset, and that hash fulfills the original Chainlink request, which goes back to the blockchain and becomes the NFT that you just bought, right? So then it's permanent and it's there for forever, basically.
Cool.
And part of that is this kitchen order, which is a giant JSON file of all of the permutations that will be rendered in the 10,000 orders. And to show how this is hooked up, let's say, for example, since Doge is upside down, or everyone else is upside down except for maybe Doge, we'll just re-render him, and it will respin up the node and render out Doge attached to the image processing stack with the input file, and as it builds, it's going to be 180 degrees upside down. But it takes a while. So, when you go and get your pizza and you redeem it, it's going to be doing all of this live in the background on an Amazon node. And
So
probably
your pizza literally is going to be in the oven.
yeah. It would help if I changed the correct file. I changed the wrong file.
All right, we'll try one more time.
Yeah, we'll try one more time. But as it goes off and bakes, and the way this process revealed itself is there was no way I should be trusted to be generating these on my home machine, and also logistically, it's 10,000 frames. It obviously takes a few minutes, up to 5 to 20 minutes, to build one of these. We would have had to have started right when we thought of the project in order to get this done on time. And there you go. There's your upside down Doge.
Great. I am going to actually, I had a question about OpenDive, but I want to save that for a little bit later, because all this talk about the pizzas, I want to know more about the art and hear from some of these artists, if you guys don't mind.
Absolutely.
So let me turn to who's first here. I'm going to Popple. Let me turn to you first, and I'm going to bring us back. Can you tell us a little bit about your art and your experience with NFTs? How is it different from working in other channels? How is pizza involved for you, or is this another medium? How do you express yourself, and how are you finding working with NFTs?
So yeah, I actually have so much fun to explore about with the NFT world, and I think the Well Pizza is a very exciting project because I can randomly to create the pizza dough and the pizza topic as well. Yeah, I think it's a very building the community and guiding artists to just a new journey to understand what's NFT, and basically the first it basically is like an open trend to let the beginning artists to involve on this project. And so I think it's very exciting because I remember a couple months ago when in the house, I had no idea what was the NFT. And so I also just got into the room to listen what's a well piece. And I realized, oh, actually, I can just easy to get involved in this project, and so exciting. So that's here I am right now. And I'm also got my art in NFT, and all because of well pizza.
That's fantastic. What other kinds of NFTs are you working on now that you're in this space? What are the sorts of projects that you've been thinking about and working on? Like, how do NFTs change your design thinking, your artistic space?
Yeah. So lately, so my background is also doing a lot is animation and art, but lately I'm have so many things is happening change because of the NFT. Because for me, for example, for my next job, I'm planning to just do with preparation work with OpenDive, because we will going to create something is called dynamic NFT. They will change based on the real data in the real data feed, and that will be changed. For example, if I create a bubble, and then if the data hit on some point in some random number of the data, and then the basic shape will change and have some effect on it, and that will be so interesting. I think on this one, I can explain a little bit more, because we've been so excited to talk about what we're going to do on this project.
I can't help but think about, open source crypto and tokens are to open source software, what NFTs are to open source art. And a lot of art ends up being open source, right? You make something for everyone. You're not sure if it's going to make any money or if it's going to be worth anything to somebody. But it has these implications that are these social implications, whether or not it makes money. And NFTs are a way to start thinking about ownership in different ways and test out different models. This whole project is an example of that as well. Anthony, you come from the world of art as well. How do NFTs impact you in terms of art? Like, how do you think about this? Oh, you're muted again.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, it impacts my world directly. As I had mentioned, I am from the old Hollywood system, and where you are work for hire and your work is consumed by the big studios. And I was really attracted to NFTs and the blockchain world because for the first time, it would allow me to truly self-publish and self-fund. And it's delivering on what the web was only half able to do, which was self-publish. But the funding mechanisms were still really locked up in a way that were completely inaccessible. And the future now, I believe, is a way for artists like ourselves to become either a collective of artists or individuals that can then fund our own projects.
Yeah, I mean, I think about musicians and songwriters who the only way to make money is to tour mercilessly and hope you scrape by a living wage, or happen to sell a song to a star and get lucky, or become one yourself, which is even lower odds. Or comparisons to the academic world in publishing, like the journals, the academic journals, they own the rights. Researchers do the work, universities fund the work, and grants fund the work, and then the publishing house, they own the rights and they make the money. And it's just a system that's that way for a reason, but doesn't have to be that way anymore, maybe.
Absolutely.
There's just so much potential here. Irvin, I know you guys at Open Dive are working on a lot of this stuff, robotics and virtual reality. What is Open Dive? How is it behind all of this? Give us a little explanation on what that is.
Sure thing. I don't know if Andy, I'm sharing the screen because I wanted to show some of Popo's work.
Sure.
And also Anthony wanted to show one of his upcoming pieces.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, so this is one of the pieces that Popo was talking about. So essentially, we're collaborating on building a dynamic NFT. So this is kind of like three-dimensional figure that could change based on external data. So you can think about, like, for example, the traditional use case is like Bitcoin price data, right? And this little bubble heart would change its shape based on like the price dynamics overall, and even going as to maybe changing the morphology to be of a happy face and stuff like that. And so we've been tinkering around with that, and also how to implement that, and also as part of Open Dive, we've been working with dynamic music NFTs. So how to like manipulate the data, the metadata that's on the music NFTs, and transform some of these real world assets. But yeah, and I also wanted to show Anthony's piece. Anthony.
So I had mentioned that I was working with some close concept artists, and we decided to start building and beginning to drop NFTs to fund a sci-fi movie series on blockchain with VR components, and really explore this in a way that we would be able to do. We've pitched this concept to the majors. We were turned down with the little bit of like, we own everything and you do not have rights to that. So we would like to open it up as a DAO and now grow this potential property into a worldwide phenomena.
Yeah, no, so it's definitely, I think a lot of the work that everyone here on stage, and also everyone who's working on Rare Pizzas and Open Dive, is really about democratizing the way that the art world works, and just making it more open, honestly. And so like Open Dive is, I would say, is an immersive reality and gaming startup. Last year we won the Best Gaming Award, the Avi Award, and the Crypto Chicks Award at the Chainlink Hackathon. And so Sean, Tina, and I have been just building different games and hacking away and stuff like that. And so back then on Chainlink Hackathon, we built this project called Farm Together, which is essentially Stardew Valley meets DeFi, where essentially you're not only farming your virtual land and harvesting and cropping, but also behind the scenes you're yield farming. And so I would say that we're arguably probably like some of the first people to look into representing liquidity positions on NFTs. So this is like last year, but right now a few folks are doing this, Uniswap, Aavegotchi, and stuff like that. But right now, as a startup, we're developing an MMORPG on Solana called Open Era, and so this leverages Chainlink for VRF and also price data feeds, and it's a game that's inspired on RuneScape. So it's a classic RuneScape, and essentially what we're doing is we're natively integrating DeFi, and also I guess making an open economy within the game with governance built in. And so as part of this, because actually Sean, he does a lot of research in VR, and Tina, and also myself have built like a lot of software that allows essentially you to deploy these VR environments right away. We're just thinking over the past months, hey, like currently we're in a pandemic, people can't go out. And, the best way that people showcase their artwork is, well, they go to CryptoVoxels, they go to Decentraland. But when you sit down and talk to artists, and primarily on Clubhouse, you hear that the artist, one of the complaints is like, the aesthetics of my art doesn't match, the CryptoVoxel space or Decentraland. There's like too constrained. And some artists, agree with us in the sense that, why would you put the physical constraints on the virtual space, right? Why do you have to just display, digital art on the virtual wall, right? Because essentially in virtual reality or virtual spaces, you could do whatever you want. You could just play around with audio visuals, you could play around with lighting, aesthetics. So that was one of the key things that really struck me personally. And so, I was just talking to the team and I was like, look, we've done a lot of stuff. And, Sean has done like music therapy in VR and stuff like that. And I'm like, we should really try to put together and open source these tools, like creator tools for artists to go ahead and, build out these spaces that, match their art and kind of creates an experience. And so that's when we started working on what we call SOAP spaces, and essentially an open source project for building tools, and in particular a gallery creator that allows artists to create virtual galleries. But I'll let Sean kind of talk about that, and I'll do a demo.
Yeah. As what Urban said earlier, so the software is about creating a space. There is no like just giving the artist a place to showcase their art, but it's more about to giving the artist the power to like just simply go to our software to like to upload whatever the 3D design they want, to upload whatever the structure they like, and then they can like create their own gallery inside our app. So the soap the soap gallery is like across so you can use the soap gallery app on either desktop, mobile, or on the website. So you can create your own like gallery on the website or desktop, and you can see everything through a phone, and then yes. So yeah, I think the demo Urban currently play is one of the demo we are doing early.
Something you said resonated with me. Why use spaces, physical spaces that we're used to? And the reason is because people are accustomed to that, right? We are attracted to metaphors. But I also think about last year, or the year before, the Travis Scott appearance in Fortnite, like how impactful that was to have this massive figure as an artistic representation in a very untraditional way. Like you could climb on him as a player, you could do all sorts of really crazy stuff in this space. So for you guys kind of pushing the boundaries beyond physical art or typical traditional displays, I think is society may be ready for, or at least a segment for. So this is really fascinating to see together.
We have like a few demos really quick. But Tina, do you want to talk about this one? Because this relates to Rare Pizzas and Bento Box.
Sure, definitely. So for this demo, we're building this for the Bento Box. Bento Box is from it's a Japanese like NFT team, and they're building some like Bento Box and NFTs, and similar to the Rare Pizza, they're generating like kind of hundreds of the Bento Box as NFTs art. And also for this demo that we're building, try to create a Japanese style street and match their Japanese bento box culture. And also, so you can imagine for the bento box gallery that being connect to the Rare Pizza gallery through the portal. So the whole goal for our Rare gallery is we're trying to build our gallery that let the artists to design by themselves, and in this way that we could help the artists to design the gallery, but also we have the gallery generator mode that artists could design and create their own gallery, and we have a demo that Irvin or Sean could show.
Yeah. And so, like people think about galleries as just they're first thinking, this is just a space, like a 4x4 room. But in reality, like a virtual gallery, could be anything. In this case, when the Bento Box project is the Rare Pizza's Japanese sister project. They're doing something similar to us, but in Japan, essentially generating Bento Box art. And so they wanted to have, kind of like a Japanese style town, and now they're saying, some artists are making, like an actual sushi bar, and we want to be able to perhaps host people inside the sushi bar and talk about it. And so they could do this with like some of the tools we provide them. But a virtual reality gallery doesn't have to just be like walls or a town. It could be a forest. So in this case, like an artist put together just a few assets, and this is showing on Google Cardboard, but so one of them was saying, hey, can I show like the NFTs like on a fox or something in the forest? And so that's what it is, right? You could put together this forest, these trees, and be able to tag your NFT artwork and be able to showcase it just however way you want. And so we're also running some audio there, but you could add audio, or you could imagine even having a tour guide kind of like walk you around your gallery itself. In this scenario, it could be a little fox, right? It doesn't just be a human being or a humanoid character. And so this is just, again, more of a traditional environment where, Sean is there wearing Google Cardboard, but, it could be just like an actual closed museum, right? And there's a little tour guide that can walk you through, and the artist could provide the voice. And so where Chainlink comes into play is because we could also then, sort of put this environments as NFTs, or some of the assets are used, right? Or even allow people to do performance art. So essentially gathering, weather data to impact maybe the lighting and stuff like that. So there's a lot of interesting things that could be done. And at the end of it all, we hope, in the coming months that we're going to be able to host maybe our large museum of galleries. So you can imagine, Andy, if you put together your own gallery, and, like Anthony, Tina, Popo, and Matt, these could all be connected together. And you got multiple different kinds of galleries and crossovers going through a portal back and forth. And so you could just walk through and be able to experience, not just look at the art, but really experience, because that's really what it is about, kind of creating an experience. But here's a rough demo of the Creator app. I think it's one of the early versions. We're going to do like a full release, but don't judge us on the UX. We're still working on it. If you have any feedback, like feel free to comment to our Discord, go on Twitter, which is Soap Spaces. This is the first time we're doing like a public like release and talking about it, but everything's open. Like we're not saying that this is going to be charged, or we're going to charge like a service fee. It's like for the artists to be able to create these galleries together, right? And be able to showcase your artwork. So yeah, I think this is just I think it's one of the first demos, in like a very simple demo where you can just drag and drop maybe some assets. In this case, it's just like a simple sphere. And then lately what we've been working on is directly importing from OpenSea. So if you're the artist, you just link back to your account, and we'll be able to extract these assets, and you can just directly overlay them. Or in this case, you could upload them, like if you have a high resolution image, because I think some artists are saying that they can upload like large files and stuff like that. So, but yeah, on the right side, you can see you can change sort of like the background, so like add a cloud or like a blue sky environment and stuff like that. But
one of the similarities I see with building Chainlink and being so involved in this community is we're really passionate about building infrastructure, because if you build infrastructure, then people can get creative to build new stuff. And like that's what happens with DeFi. You provide secure price feeds, and DeFi can do a lot more. And it sounds like that's what this is making the tools so artists can do a lot more, whether it's in virtual reality spaces or typical gallery type NFT spaces. Look at me saying traditional NFT spaces. I'm already in the future. We're running up on time a little bit, so this is just amazing, and this collection of people doing things together is fantastic. And I want to call out to the community watching. If any of this calls to you, join communities, and we're going to get the links down in the show notes below. Join the Chainlink community, join our Discord and our Telegram, join Open Dive and Rare Pizzas. Where can people find you and get involved with any of these projects?
Sure. Yeah, like Rare Pizzas, you can look us up on Rare Pizzas on Twitter, and visit rarepizzas.com. And honestly, join the Pizza Mafia. Hop on the Discord, talk to us. You get your own username. You can follow Open Dive on Twitter at Open Dive, and also our game is called Open Era, so you can just find Open Era HQ. And the VR project is on Twitter at Soap Spaces, SOAP Spaces. And also, Anthony, I think you have a cool project too.
Yeah, you can follow me at Anthony Schaefer on Twitter, ANTHONY, SHAFER, no C, 1F. And the Blockchain Collective project, it's on Instagram and Twitter. On Instagram, it's Blockchain Collective with a V, COLLECTIV. And on Twitter, it's COLL3, so Blockchain Call 3. And we are going to be dropping our first NFT soon, and go and vote. We'd love to have you go to our Instagram, the Blockchain Collective, and vote for which one you'd like to see first. It's either between that mech that you saw, or there's a time travel Knights of the Round Table discovering proof of work scene that we have that we're working on as well. So thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, and Popo is there also. Popo Art, right? Right, Popo, is that your Twitter?
Yeah.
All right, I will be sure to get links from everybody. Send them to me in Telegram, and I will add them to the show notes here on YouTube. So anybody watching later can follow you guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Again, my name is Andy Boyan. This is Chainlink Live with Chainlink Labs. We're here talking to the Rare Pizzas Project and all sorts of people involved in various projects. It's been amazing talking to you guys. I didn't even realize you were the Farm Together group, which I love, absolutely love that project. And I wrote about it before, so we should have talked about it for more, but maybe again in the future. We'll keep following up with you guys and have another project. I'm going to leave us with this little question or note from the audience. I thought this was a great little way to end. Pizza is fun, but not a joke. This process is dope. Thank you, Daniel. And thank you to everyone who attended today. Please like and subscribe our YouTube channel for many more episodes and interesting Q&As like this. And we'll see you guys later. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.